3333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentiliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me, believe me, believe me.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
And yes, let us begin with the issues that bother us in the nation. It's a weekend, it's the week roundoff, basically. That's what we're doing today, like I earlier stated. My name is Chinwe Blessing, by the way, and our analyst for today is no other person but Ade Folarin Olamilekon himself. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thanks for having me on the show, and a very good afternoon to all our listeners out there.
All right, let's get into it. Let's begin with the issue of the the ministerial portfolios. Tinubu has decided to head oil ministries. The petroleum ministry has taken after his predecessor. I think it's an APC thing. Oil workers are now demanding results, or as President Bola Tinubu has assigned the petroleum ministry portfolio to himself.
Exactly.
While that is on, like I said, just like his predecessor, the president will head the petroleum ministry. Well, a former senator, Heineken Lokpobiri, is the Minister of State Petroleum Resources. First off, before we get into the story, what do you think about the entire portfolio?
I think for a large extent, we can see round peg in round holes. You get it, and again, we're also seeing new people that have to learn new roles, especially those entrepreneurial guys that are on the cabinet this time around. I'm talking of people who are coming from the private sector, people who have done so well at the private sector. They are coming to face the rigorous and the testing bureaucratic nature of the Nigerian public sector.
Oh wow!
So for them, they are going to learn a new route, a new role, and a new decision taking, because at the private sector you can just take a memo, act on it in a jiffy. But when it comes to public sector, you can't act on a memo until you pass through all the tables that I need to pass through.
All the bottlenecks.
I'm telling you. So these guys.
There's going to be a lot of learning on the job. That's what you think.
But what I'm expecting such people to bring in is the fastness in the approach they are going to bring to their job, because their fastness is what they have been able to apply at the private sector that help them to succeed. Because delay in policy decision at the public sector is what has caused most of this policy somersault that we have experienced in the country, and on a policy that cannot be even implementable at other points. But we just hope that these guys are coming in with that fresh idea, especially those ones from the private sector, can bring this to the board and ensure that public sector work as fast as we normally see in the private sector also.
Okay, now let's now look at President Bola Tinubu assigning the petroleum ministry portfolio to himself. Before we talk about what you think about that, whether his hands will be too full or if he'll be able to actually handle all of the load, what is the difference between a Minister of State Petroleum Resources and the Minister of Petroleum?
And let's even dissect Minister of State and the Minister. You know, if you look at this way our ministries are structured, and if you look at the kind of work they are doing, there are some of them that focus on international aligned work back home. I will give you an example. Like now, Minister of State for Petroleum, for instance, his work will basically look at the downstream sector of the economy in the oil and gas sector. Well, the minister himself, the real one in charge, will focus on the upstream, that is the exploration aspect of the ministry, both the gas and the oil. Another good example, we can have a clarification on this particular Minister of State and Minister of the core minister is this. If you look at education is divided into about 3 parts. We have the tertiary aspect of the education, we have the secondary, then we have the basic. Now, at the Minister of Education level, the Minister of Education, the first one, they call senior minister, focus more on the tertiary institution of the education, where the Minister of State focus on the secondary and the basic aspect of education. The same thing goes with Minister of Health, although this time around we are having coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare. Then we also have Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare. Now the one at the bottom, which is the junior minister, will focus on health, basically from the secondary to the primary aspect of the health facilities and health institution in the country. That's why I say that most of those ones, they relate more to state government than the other one that focus more at the health issues, basically at the international level. And that is how it is being structured. So many people argue that what's the essence of Minister of State? These are the reasons that we will give to them. If they can understand it that way, will flow together. But many people may not even want to understand it that way, that they see it as a wastages and bringing high cost to governance in the country.
We are going to get to high cost of governance is one of the issues we dealt with this week, but let's come back to the issue of the difference actually between the Minister of State Petroleum Resources and what should Nigerians, I think what I'm trying to ask is, what should Nigerians expect from the president heading the petroleum ministry?
I think we won't expect anything different from what his predecessor did. All he will just be doing is to get memo from the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources and see how he can approve it. As President Tinubu stand today, he is just an approving organ in that ministry. That's what he's going to do at the end of the day. Look at whatever the ministry is proposing and see the one that he felt or he think is more nationalistic in outlook and approve it. Talk of subsidy remover. Minister of State cannot say he is going to remove subsidy remover. It has to be the minister, which is headed by the president. Talk about all the palliative that is coming into the cushioning effect of the subsidy remover in Nigeria today. It is the main minister, which is the president today, that will approve any proposal at all, any memo that is coming from the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources. And again, as I pointed out earlier, the Minister of State, as we have it now, his focus will be on the downstream sector. Not that he cannot have a say on over the upstream sector, but the upstream sector will strictly be, because that is where Nigeria make more of our money in terms of revenue, because that is where we exploit the oil, and that is where we sell the oil in crude form, and that is where we also monitor some of the activities of people who are operating there. But the downstream sector of the oil and gas sector talks about whereby most of these things they are talking about, the petroleum station, the importation of the petrol themselves, and also the distribution of the petroleum. So that's what the downstream sector does. That's why we have 3 agencies in that. We have the NNPCCL, which is Nigerian owned state oil company, that does the exploration and sell the crude oil. Then we have the NUPRI, Nigerian upstream petroleum sector, who give licenses to people who exploit the petroleum product. Then we also have the downstream sector, who now monitor the activities of the distribution and sales of petroleum across board in filling station as well as the gas station.
Very interesting breakdown right there. A lot of us needed to hear that. Now, there's been criticisms as to the amount of women that are in this, that have been given positions.
Exactly.
Now, during the elections, we heard during the campaigns, the president promised 35%. He's 10% short of that number. What are your thoughts?
Definitely it will happen. And this happened as a result of who are the people that the state nominate. This nomination of 3 individuals all came all through from the state level. Some state did not even bother to put woman among the 3 people they nominated. They just nominated 3 men. So more people are expecting that, especially people that criticize this particular appointment, is that when the list came, when the president discovered that some state just nominate male, man, why didn't he query them and said, out of these 3 that you are bringing, let's make sure that it is one, at least one is a woman. If that have been done, most of those states would have put it in a sense that a woman would have been among the 3 nominations. That's what really happened. And those states that even nominate women, you can see that it's not all the states that also got it, except those states that the women they nominated are people who are actively in APC, who work for the APC victory, and who ensure that APC is now the ruling party in Nigeria. We must also consider that, because that is one of the things that political party normally consider. But those of us that are not members of political party, we think that when sharing the lot of victory after election comes, they should just begin to give to everybody. They give to you according to your contribution. That's what political party does.
So it's you're trying to you're saying that people that called this a compensation list are right?
Definitely, they are very correct. See, one thing about politics in Nigeria or anywhere across the world is that you must be compensated as much as you have contributed to the victory of the party. Didn't you also hear in the news that over 156 political groups who call themselves the Tinubu Movement Group, different bodies, 156,000 of them are complaining that they have been short-sighted, they have been shortlisted, shot out of the door of appointment. Although the president have assured them that there's about 2,600 opportunity that people are going to become members of board of corporation, members of board of council, members of board of commission that is going to inaugurate. He sacked about thousands of people out of that particular position after he took over government. So he is expecting that members of the political party are going to fill those positions at the end of the day. But how many of them can they even carry? But as we have said, the president have fallen short of the 35% affirmation that he promised the women. He even hold a conference with them and said women and youth will be remember so much in his government.
Now this is not just this government. Since 99 they've never hit the 35% mark. Why would you say there's it has never been done?
Definitely.
Closest we got to was Obasanjo's time. Closest we got to, and then it just kept going down all the way. What do you think the challenge is? Is it that women are not being trusted? Are we having some kind of inequality going on in the system, or is it just a happenstance?
The thing is that it's not that women can't be trusted, and it's not that women are not qualified. The issue still boils down to party politics that we play, whereby we now segregate women out of political positions. When it now comes to sharing the loot, sharing the juicy aspect of the position in the politics, we now keep the women aside and pick one or two of them and put them in position. Meanwhile, the men take all the juicy position, and they also even take all self. So what I'm trying to point out is that it's not that women are not they are much qualified. But the thing is that the kind of politics that we play in Nigeria is not just Nigeria alone. Across the world, it's just that in development climate, they have been able to understand how to manage it and get that 35. You get it? But here we are not even getting the 35. The current government is just about 10%. You get it? So what we are now pushing forward is that in as much as we want to make it more possible for women to be considered in big position, we should jettison the party politics nature of our country and just ensure that we find the qualified woman and put her or put them in those positions of authority as desired by all Nigerians.
Well, now, what of all of the placements, which one do you have your eyes on? And trust me, that question is leading somewhere. Who are you more who are you paying more attention to?
All the ministerial positions.
Yes,
I'm interested in the coordinating minister of finance and economy. That is where the ball starts, and that is where it will end. And what do I mean by that? Whatever policy that you see that the Tinubu administration will bring out in the next 4 years, that is the office that will coordinate it. Either the policy will be good, or that policy will be flawed, or that policy is going to impact Nigerians positively. It is from that office, and it is that office that will coordinate even the issue about the naira falling flat every day. It is that same office that will contribute to how many roads, how many hospitals, how many schools, what are we going to give to workers as salary. It is that office that will coordinate it. And when it comes to importation and exportation of Nigerian businesses, or either importing or exporting, it is that same office, because that office carry 3 pillars on its head. 1, revenue. 2, spending. Then the third thing is budgeting process of the Nigerian economy. And these 3 pillars are the pillars that will ensure that at the end of the day, if this government fails, it is as a result of the poor oversight of these 3 pillars I've mentioned, or the weakening governing ethics around how these 3 pillars are being operated. I will repeat it again. Revenue, the spending of that revenue, and the budgetary processes of how the government is going to manage whatever we are going to get.
Okay. Now, Wale Edun, he's the one that was the minister. I think after the nominations came out and we saw it was almost clear where he was going to be, and he ended up, being the finance minister
coordinating of economy.
What are your thoughts about him being there?
I think his experience speaks for him as someone who understands monetary economics very well, and someone who is a very professional in terms of accounting system. He has served as a commissioner with the same president when he was a governor, and also served in several committees that was set up in Lagos and outside Lagos, and having that reputation to be a sound economist as well as someone who understands the accounting system. So, and not only that, he's someone that also understands the revenue processes that Lagos was able to bring on bear when Tinubu was the governor of Lagos. So these are the things that he's bringing on board. But we just know that at the national level, it's a different ball game. At the national level, there are what we call centrifugal and centripetal forces. These are forces that want to come on you and ensure that whatever you are doing, you either favor them or you favor the other one. So at the national level, you must be able to carry everybody along and ensure that whatever policy that government is going to bring on is going to help the nation strongly. Because when I mention centrifugal, we mention centripetal, we're talking about the national, which are the federal government and the state government. Now at the state government, we also have different forces that will be working. When we now mention elite at the state level, or we talk about national elite at the federal level, these are the forces that will be talking, that will be making all manner of pressure on government policy, on government economic activities, in a sense that it's either it favor them or it favor the masses. And that is where we normally have it. So you must be able to carry all this along and ensure that it has to be a bottom impact level. When I mean bottom impact level, is that the people that we normally consider ordinary Nigerians or citizens at the bottom level of the economy rank must be impacted, because at this point in time they are the one feeling the grunt of whatever policy the government is bringing down. If the Minister of Finance and economy coordinator of the economy doesn't know how to ensure that it is a bottom approach policy that will ensure that Nigerians smiles every day of their life, then we may have issue. But if it's a policy that will also make the elite to be smiling, then we have a challenge in our hand. So
well,
that's why
go ahead, finish.
That's why it must be somebody that understands how to deploy policy that will make Nigerians to be happy. And when we say Nigerians to be happy, mean policy that would draw down and reduce the hardship in the economy. I mentioned about revenue. Revenue comes from how many angles? From two angles. One, taxes, and whatever the government is getting in terms of loans, in terms of borrowing, in terms of investment that the government is going. Now, whatever revenue taxes that the government must bring must not be the one that will impact the people negatively. That's on the other hand. Then on the other hand, whatever money that government is making must be able to translate into development infrastructure that people can benefit from. Talk of good road, talk of water facility, talk of health, talk of good education, and talk of atmosphere of living peacefully. That is provision for stable security as well as electricity for Nigeria. Once Nigeria have this basic need, nobody will talk too much or nobody will argue too much whether Tinubu is doing well or is doing badly.
Well, I like that one. I do hope that we pay attention to the needs of the people and be more, our policies should be more people minded, although exactly. I doubt that we are thinking in that line of thought. Now, the most spoken about post since these portfolios were released was the Minister of the FCT. I'm doing my best not to analyze today, so you're doing all of the analysis.
We'll do that.
You are doing all of the analysis. Let's talk about Nyesom Wike. Do you think that it works where he was placed, round hole in a round peg in a round hole?
I think what the president did was he broke the genes whereby we always have a certain part of the region not really always been appointed as Minister of FCT, although we also have a southern person being appointed Minister of State for FCT. But this time around, he brought it to the fore. He brought somebody who has done it somewhere else before, and that's what when I saw the list, when I saw the name, I said, no, this president wants someone who can work, and he wants someone who can command respect from whoever that is going to be in FCT. You can't take Nyesom Wike for granted in Abuja, currently Minister of FCT, and you are in FCT, you don't obey the law of FCT, or you don't want to do what the law of FCT is talking about. It will just grind you.
What are the responsibilities actually of the Minister of the FCT? I
think they are quite simple. They are not something that too bogus from what state governor does at their state level. Even though they don't have that flag as governor, they represent the governorship status in FCT, and they do basically everything that the governor does at the state level. They ensure that there is employment, they ensure there is infrastructure, they ensure that workers are taken care of. They ensure the basic needs that a governor will do. They go into the interior aspect of the state and make provision for them. That's what Governor Wike have done before when he was governor of Rivers State. So he's bringing the same to the center and he's bringing it to Abuja. But the only difference is that at the center here in Abuja, there will be more forces, especially the indigenous people, who normally see it as opportunity for them that whoever that is coming to FCT must be able to look at their concerns. And that's why they normally appoint minister for state for FCT, whereby the minister for state for FCT will now look at the concerns of the inhabitants. There are about 9 tribe or ethnic groups that make up the FCT in terms of original inhabitants. There are about 164 political wards in FCT. There are about 18 chiefdom in FCT, and we have 6 area council. You get it? So all these 6 area council, 164 political ward, 18 chiefdom and 9 tribe are all dominating the FCT in terms of what they want government to do for them. Although we have a leading group among all of them, which we normally call the baggy people, they are the most populated among these 9 groups, but they always want attention. So the minister must be able to devote attention to these people in a way that they will get what they want in terms of basic infrastructure. If you go around FCT today, there are still schools that children sit on the floor to learn. There are still schools that don't even have teachers. It is the community that contributes money to employ extra teacher, and when you send a copper there, they won't stay. Still very, very remote. You can't even drive down there. If you go to Kuje, if you go to some areas in Buhari, especially even some areas in Karishi and other aspects of Abaji and the rest of them, they are not even motorable. So there are still areas that don't have drinkable water to take. Primary health care is still a challenge to them. So on this platform, we are setting an agenda for the new minister so that he can know his work cut out for him. And these are the things that these people normally require. These are the things people normally call for. And again, most of them don't have the opportunity to participate in politics or having opportunity for employment. What I'm saying is that I work with some of them. I have done some radio program and TV program with some of these inhabitants, and these are the challenges normally put forward. And again, they also have the issue of mining, right, whereby people mine their land, take over whatever resources, and they don't get anything in return. So the minister must be able to focus on this. Once you are able to meet up with this demand of the local inhabitant, you are good to go. Then the minister also have the opportunity to look at the center, like those of us that are in the city center, Gariki, Use, and rest of them. There are also challenges with the city centers, especially the issue of Babambola, the issue of people who break into people's house, poor security challenge security challenge that normally occur, and again traffic within the area, central area, because there is need to expand the roads and have new entrance, new areas whereby we can break even and expand the road network within the city center. I think these are the things that the new minister will focus in. And again, the issue of street trading is another issue that at the city center that the new minister will also have to look into and see how he can address it. This time we're not saying he should pursue and drive away all these street traders, but find a convenient means to put them in a place they can also do their business, because these ones in the informal sector are even more, they pay their taxes faster and easier than those big corporations that will normally chase up and down, because they are the ones that are collecting ticket of 100 naira, 200 naira, 500 every day from, and they pay, they don't owe. But the big corporation, they are the one that normally cause tax evasion in the city. So these are the things that the new minister must focus on and ensure that security is top notch in FCT. And I know he will do it, because in Rivers State, he makes sure that security is one of the top priority. That's why you don't hear much of kidnapping in Rivers State or in Port Harcourt, and he handle it in a very
well. He has his criticisms. People from Rivers State, I don't know why, they are the only people that I've met that don't like him as much, and they don't preach his gospel. We're looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the FCT. We have 2 minutes before we have to go on a break, commercial one at that. Could you tell just quickly the difference between the state FCT, Minister of State FCT, and then the Minister of the FCT? What's the difference in their?
There is no much difference. Now, I said earlier that the Minister of State for FCT, the person they are going to appoint into that position normally do, the inhabitant, the issues about community welfare, that's what that person focus on. He doesn't do much at the city center. He focus at the satellite areas, the rural areas, where those 9 inhabitants I've mentioned stay in FCT. He focus on them. He relate more with them. Meanwhile, the main minister focus more on the city centers, what is happening around the city center, and the general security of FCT.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's quickly go on this break. We're going to pay some bills, and when we're done, we're going to return. We're going to now look at the high cost of living, in the country, and the high cost of governance in the country as well, as we bring the episode to a close. Please don't go anywhere. Stay with us. This is still Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, Abuja.
It is hot and it's fresh. It's like nothing you've ever experienced. It's your voice on your radio. It's Voice of the People, 96.1 FM Abuja. Now you have a voice.
Others may drop the mic. I talk into it. If you're in need of a voice, well, I've got one.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
Baba Sani, remember that my daughter that will be getting married I told you about, and I'm sure that the cow I've asked you to keep is very ready. I don't want to hear story.
I don't tell them. Say make you no worry. If na cow, I get them. The problem I have with you people is that you don't understand the business. How can you Okoko want to go and buy cow? You now go and order from him.
Oh my Igbo, whenever I want to buy meat, I usually consult our friend. Why are you not feeling that?
But I'm supposed to be the distributor. If that is business.
Are you the seller for the cow? You get them for the cow? Now your own? Both of you should not quarrel.
I am not here to quarrel. More with high chief. Talking to you is part of my introduction. Look at this bombastic element.
Journey with us to visit 3 troublesome friends. From the east, we have the money and container man.
Yes, it is me now. High chief, we get to me.
To the west, we have a man that eats only meat and loves Owambe.
I still remain your one and only Otumba Owoni Koko Agbabiaka.
All the way to the north, we have Baba Sani with his 40 children and 4,000 cows and still counting.
You are my faithful. Sunana Baban Asan. Na me born for Asan and I get them for plenty cows.
Listen to Era Matters only on VOP 96.1 FM every weekday by 10:30 a.m.
The award-winning pizza in the US is now here in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Romeo, the pizza champions, and cold berry ice cream. Nice. School. Visit any of our outlets and feel the rich taste from the pizza champions and cold berry ice cream.
At number 4, Ogbomosho Street,
Area 8, Geriki, Abuja, or 3rd Avenue, Gwaripa, Abuja, or Federal Housing Estate, Phase 2, Lube, Abuja. Call 0908-831-5906 or 0908-831-5908 or 0909-238-9861. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at rumourspizza.ng.
website
www.rumourspizza.ng. Romeo, the pizza champions. Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Rufai line array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me.
Headphones on.
Headphones on.
Microphone in position.
Microphone in position. Oh!
Decks on.
What you doing with that thing? Decks on.
Tapes on.
Tapes on.
Volume on.
Volume on.
The best music. The best music.
Keep it locked, cause you will be shot.
No matter how you play, we play whatever and however you play. From local flavors to global hits. From club bangers to street anthems, even fans' favourites. Whatever rocks your boat, we've got you covered. Press play.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
Ever wondered why ladies gather in the powder room together? We're probably talking about you. So ladies, do you think it's right for a lady to ask a man out?
I think a woman can ask a man out, but not direct.
For me personally, I don't think people should be asking random people out.
There's nothing wrong in saying it. Say it the way it is. Throw a little bit of green lights here.
Green lights. There are some men that cannot. They are blind.
They are colorblind. They cannot see color at all. Green light at all.
Well, get ready for unpopular opinions, conversations that will both cause wahala, entertain, and educate you. Get all the unfiltered gossips, secrets, laughs, and facts about women from VOP ladies in the powder room. Wednesdays by 7 p.m. exclusive to VOP 96.1 FM Abuja. Hey, it's a date.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information. I slay. Okay, ladies, now let's get
Serving our community. This is the best radio station.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
Unity is strength. Without the unity, we ain't got nothing.
Guy, you know no family is perfect, right? We argue, we fight, we even stop talking to each other. But in the end, family is family. And it's family that raises boys and girls into men and women. Listen to Family Affair. Let's help raise good and capable men and women. It's a family affair. Sundays by 3 p.m. Exclusive to VOP 96.1 FM.
Talk.
Announce the result. You should have the CTC waiting.
Keep talking.
If you want to tax people, you must provide them service.
Don't stop talking.
If anybody is telling that I'm a mole, that person is just being mischievous.
Hey, it's your right to talk.
We are Voice of the People.
Let's talk.
Boom shakalaka, you ready for the fire reggae vibes, me people? Welcome to Ital Culture, the hottest reggae show on Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, straight out of Abuja. If you love the Irish sounds of the Caribbean, this show are for you. We're bringing the reggae rhythms to full joy. Every Saturday night from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. we jamming the best in roots reggae, root rock reggae, dub, dancehall, and all things reggae. Ital culture are the real thing.
Louder!
But hold up, me people, it's not just about the music. It's about the culture, history too, and the powerful impact on social change. So make sure you lock into the voice of the people, 96.1 FM Abuja, every week, and let Ital culture take you on a journey of unity. Reggae music are the heartbeat of the people. One love, one frequency, one community. One love.
Adam's Lounge. Oh yes, my country people. Adam's Lounge. Now we are men they gather. They discuss different things. We concern different men and different places and different times. And if I got for inside Adam's Lounge, now we are men they focus on the issue that will affect a man. The location now for inside Adam's Lounge. Or you're making a waste time. Join the conversation for inside Voice of the People 96.1 FM Abuja, where the men they lounge, they gather, they discuss the things that will affect them. It is every Sunday from 8 o'clock go reach 10 o'clock. Adam's Lounge, the gathering of men. Adam's Lounge, the gathering of men.
To be a man, wow. To be a man, wow.
No matter how you play, we play whatever and however you play. From local flavors to global hits. From club bangers to street anthems, even fans' favourites. Whatever rocks your boat, we've got you covered. Press play.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
The hustle never stops.
Kind of 4,000. I say 4,000.
The grind must continue.
It seems that yes, I would like to buy something.
Regardless of how hard life gets, take a break from the norm. Let's face life issues head on. From alcoholism to obesity, entertainment and lifestyle.
Plastic surgery does still go wrong.
Everything that matters on Matters. Mondays to Fridays, 12 to 3 p.m. on Voice of the People Abuja, because your voice matters.
Still having conversations that matter on Matters. Voice of the People, 96.1 FM Abuja. I'm Chinwe Blessing. Been having a conversation with Ade Folarin Olamilekon. He's a political economist. And it's really been a great conversation. We initially started discussing the ministerial portfolios that have been released. And so far, so good. We're moving on. Cost of governance in Nigeria. Let's talk about the strain it's having on the citizen standards of living. We have a staggering cost of governance in this country, and it's having an unwavering effect and impact on the quality of life that citizens have. When I say impact now, I'm talking it has both an impact on it has an emotional and a financial impact on us. Because I mean, how do you feel? I'm asking you this question now, and I really want an honest answer. How do you feel when you're probably standing and waiting to get in a bus, or you're in traffic, which residents of Asokoro go through every morning, by the way, and you see a convoy of like 20 to 30 cars, fleets of clean cars that usually we used to see them only in movies, and those are your leaders in them, and you can't even afford to get anything close to it, not because you're lazy, like the former president claims, but because the system just doesn't let you thrive. How does it affect you emotionally? Then we can now get into the economics of it.
I think I feel so bad on daily basis, especially for someone like me that always move around the city, going to one TV station, one radio station, one newspaper and the other, as a means of whereby doing my normal daily activities, analyzing, writing, and engaging in discussion that can move the country forward. A typical example of my daily activities, I move around between Mitama, Asokoro, Geriki, Pape, Jabi, Mabushi, and I see all this fleet of cars that we have just mentioned. I see them live and direct. Even this morning I've seen
I live on the airport route, so
definitely you can those ones going to the airport and they are escaping from Abuja. Me, I see those ones that
live in.
They are living in they are going to the airport. They're also going out of Abuja. They are going to Gogolada or going to Nasarawa, and they are leaving the state. FCT. Now, what I feel so bad about it is that they sit comfortable in that car, and they see a lot of us standing at the bus stop. Do they even think twice?
I don't think they see you.
They do.
They are usually pressing for.
No. Sometimes they do see us. Sometimes I look deep into those what they call is it coated glasses vehicles, or how do they normally call them, the cars that the jeep they drive. You see black. You can't even see someone inside. But I try as much as possible to look into the intent of that vehicle, to know the position where that person is sitting in, and I wonder whether they are thinking at all. Especially for those of you that would normally stand at Metama Junction or stand at Federal Secretariat, Ugu Square. You see those lovely cars moving, and you see just one person, one tall, one short, one fat, seated in the most decorated among all the cars, and you'll be wondering, did this person even think whether you are existing at all? That's what comes to my mind. Do they think we exist at all? Or they just want to ensure that they continue to accumulate, and that's what have led to this poor governance structure, whereby the more you get higher in the position of authority as a political appointee, the more your pec home pay. When I call it pec home pay, that means what you start with, the more it gets increased, and when you are leaving, it gets more increase, more. Imagine all the 1,446 people that serve under President Buhari government. Do you know how much they spent in sending them away? Do you know how much they spent in giving them what they call severe packages? It runs into billions of naira, and they are there. A new set of people have now been appointed. These guys will also enjoy this pec home pay. They will enjoy the severe packages when they are leaving, and now severe packages have moved away from the 300% that we know it to be before to over 500%.
Now, I have a question about that, and that wasn't supposed to be my next question, but let's digress. It's Friday. That's one of the reasons I like the Friday Matters episode of Matters. Let's digress a little bit. So the severance package, help me, correct me if I'm wrong, is supposed to be their version of retirement funds.
Exactly.
Pensions.
Exactly.
How much is the pension of an average Nigerian civil servant? How many? It's like, I know it's a percentage.
It's a percentage of what you are earning.
Of what you were earning. Is it up to 300%?
No, it's not up to.
So if they are civil servants like they claim, why do they have a 300% severance package?
Is what the law have created.
The law that they created.
Yes, the law that created salaries and wages commission in Nigeria. That is how it has been stated in that law, or whatever a political appointee. No, one thing, they are not civil servant, they are just political appointee. They are political appointee. So once they are out of office, when they are leaving, the government will just have to pamper them with that kind of amount of money, or that kind of amount of material condition, so that when they are leaving, they will leave happily. And the reason, the rationale behind this law is to ensure that when you are in position of authority, you don't steal, you don't put your hand in where you're not supposed to put your hand. That is the essence of the law. But here we are in Nigeria, they will put their hands in those things, they will make more money from the system, and they will still go away with more money when they are leaving the system.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to understand. We've been doing the same thing for several years, way too many years, and it's not working, obviously, because they are still stealing funds, even though nobody is being prosecuted. So I'll say they are allegedly still stealing funds. What then do we do?
When you say they are not stealing, many Nigerians will not agree with you. They are not stealing. The reason why I say so is this: look at the life of these 45 guys now that are coming into governance. We know of Wike, his former governor. About 9 former governors are there. We know they're already living in a.
Lalong is there.
Lalong is because he's from the governor of where you won't stay, a state you won't stay.
Oh no, I didn't say that with a lot of pleasure. I'm just I'm mentioning governors that are there, and I'm just saying now.
Lalong is there.
Yes.
No. Now these guys, we already know the kind of life they are living. Before they became governor, we know the kind of life they are living. Some of them didn't serve as a minister, some served as a minister. Now, those ones that have never been in any position before, we already know the kind of life they are living. We know how many wealth they accumulated for themselves. Now, by the time they are leaving government, don't be surprised that these guys will have triple or 10 times of what they had from when they enter government. It happens. And they will want to accommodate that as much as possible. They want to do.
How does this affect the life of Nigerians? this bogus lifestyle, this bogus cost of governance that taxpayer money has to pay for. About 70%, right, of the budget goes to maintaining
the civil servant
governance.
and the public servant that are working in government.
So how does this?
It's a great distraction and a great drastic, in terms of our development projection. In a sense that when you have so much of such money put into the hands of people, and salaries and allowances, estacos, and whatever you want to call it. Now, what happened to that one that will turn the economy around? Because the other people depends on that particular aspect that will turn their life around. Imagine our capital project now being 70%, then our recurrent project being 30%. You know how beautiful the country would have been. That means we'll be competing with Dubai in terms of infrastructure. Nobody will complain there is no medical facilities in our hospitals, either at the primary level or the secondary level or the tertiary level. Nobody will complain that children are learning under trees or are sitting in a classroom that doesn't have chair or desks.
All the way to the tertiary level.
They won't have overcrowded lecture room. Even though TEDFund is trying on its own to build classroom for all the universities and polytechnic and college education, but they would have done very well. Even ASU himself will not complain that we don't have tools to do our research. You get it? But the other side, we have 70 for recurrent and we have 30 for capital. It means that the capital will just be there. It will not do anything for the economy. The economy will not go beyond the level that this particular government have met it, and they will still leave it for the next government that will come. Because at the end of the day, it is the capital that normally turn the economy around. When we are saying capital, people should understand that we're talking about infrastructure development that will enhance and aid economic development across board. You're talking about the best of road, not just road at the city centers, not just building bridges, culverts, a roundabout within the city center, but road that will connect to farm settlement, rural areas that will bring, so that they can bring in goods and food agro products to the city. We're talking about rail system that will connect the rural areas to the city center. We're talking about rail system that will be municipal in nature, whereby I won't have to be struggling coming all the way from Masaka or coming all the way from Gwagwalada to come to the city center, and will be burdened by a Sienna bus or by a coastal bus that will pack all of us into that bus like sardine. But a rail system will enhance, will help us to come to the city quietly and go back quietly in peaceful mood. Those are the things that capital project will do to us. What about water system? Nobody will be busy building boreholes at the backyard of their house or the front of their house gate and be saying, since the government didn't provide me water, I have to do my own. Nobody will be struggling with vigilante that you come and secure our street, when the capital project has already provided provisions for the policing of our communities and our cities. So these are the things that we point out when it comes to capital project. But here we are, everybody is talking about how to increase the recurrent expenditure. Everybody is talking about wage increase. Everybody is talking about allowance expansion. And these are the things that eat up the economy. When you are just giving people money and they are just spending money and there's nothing to turn around to bring back the money, the economy die. That's why when people are complaining about dollar, naira, and naira is falling, we explain that it is not by pushing NNPC to go and borrow 3 billion from Afri-Exim Bank to come and give to importers of fuel that will make naira to come down. There are critical things that will be done in the economy that will ensure that naira comes down naturally by its own production. Ensure that there is stable electricity. Ensure that we have good road. Ensure that there is a maximum or minimum tax policy that will not cripple and destroy small businesses as well as big businesses. Ensure that government policy will not come back and become a somersaulting policy whereby today it says one thing, tomorrow it's another thing. So all those things, when government doesn't work on them, definitely there is no way we can rescue the naira. There is no way we can ensure we profile and we refine our crude oil here. Rather, we also continue to depend on importation of PMS and diesel and kerosene. That is how it is if we continue to make sure that our capital project is at the base, meanwhile our recurrent expenditure is higher, because it is at the capital we will now put specific amount of money that will engineer the economy, just like the president promised. You see, he wants to re-engineer the economy through fiscal policy and tax reform. Good enough, but when we talk about fiscal policy and tax reform, we are talking about we will generate money from collecting taxes, but that taxes will be used to also bring back money into the hands of the people. There's one thing about tax philosophy. When you collect from people, in other way you are giving them opportunity to make more. But in our own understanding, we don't understand tax like that. We understand tax as just be collecting from people. Meanwhile, you are not creating opportunity for the people to make more. And when people make more, they will be willing to pay. But in a situation whereby they are not making more money and you want to collect the what they are making, they will be greedy. They will be so hard bound not to give you a dime of what they are making.
Now, I'm sure you are tired of me asking this question every time we have a conversation.
Because people need to understand it.
Absolutely. The question is, what is actually stopping us from getting these things done the way they should be done? And, well, let's answer that first.
Now, the one thing about economy of Africa or policy implementation in African countries is not just peculiar to Nigeria alone. Although I don't know whether you are already timing, because this kind of discussion, this kind of question is quite sensitive. We have to go international, then come back local, then look at our surrounding.
We do it? Can we do all of that in 6 minutes?
Definitely, we are getting it.
Perfectly.
Now, this is what happened to African policy. Now, most of the policy that we are applying are borrowed policy. We borrowed economic principles that we are using. It's a capitalist principles that talks about private investment, private ownership of means of production. Now, the rules they gave to government was a regulatory rules that just regulate the economy, sit down and look, and allow private individuals to engage in the economy. Good and fine, but we now understood that government can't just be sit down and look alone. Government have to engage in some of this business venture, this economic venture. But here we are, government have not had the opportunity to do that, because in the past when government was doing it, it didn't work. A lot of policy came and thwarted that. Now, at this point in time, why is it that the policy of government don't get down in a way that people can feel the impact of it? Is this now there are several interests that fall around government policy. Now we have the business interest, we have the political interest, we have the economic interest, we have even the indigenous interest. People are also interested in how government initiates policy. For instance, a good one is this. Now, if government say we want to carry out a policy on water for all in Nigeria, definitely it's a good policy. But how many Nigerians are ready to ensure that water for all is implementable? A lot of interest folks will come in and say, no, why should government go out? Government doesn't have business in giving people water. Why not to allow private PPP, public initiative, enter? And the moment that kind of arrangement come in, these guys are joining government to do water for everybody, who say we are investing it also billions of naira and we want to recoup the money. By the time they bring the water to us, they will begin to charge us. And by the time they will bring the water, they will not even make the water available to all. A very good example is this fuel subsidy stuff. Initially in the 70s, when all the refineries were built, the last one that was built was the Cardinal refinery that was finished building in 1984 thereabout. When they finished, government had the opportunity to refine 30% of the consumable PMS that Nigerians were consuming. Then our population was not even up to this 218 million that we are today. It was less than 100 million, and government was producing. But the moment the opportunity come that private people have to import PMS, that is when the problem with our refinery started. All of a sudden, all the refineries started having issues. Before you know it, they say turnaround maintenance, before you know it, make around maintenance. Different nomenclature about how to return and to bring the refinery to work started coming. Before you know, the refinery packed down. Then what did the government do? Let us give people license to build their own refinery. They also do that to encourage people to get into that business. What did they do? They collected a refinery. They are now looking for opportunity whereby government now have to give them money to go and invest. Another simpler and most clear aspect of this kind of policy that government doesn't get it done properly is this: the electricity aspect. Initially, who was in charge of power? It was government. Then they say privatize, and privatization of the power sector was in 4 stages. Now there is the generation, there is the transmission, then there is the distribution. Then the 4th one is the marketable aspect of the electricity. Now government says, okay, we are going to privatize, but we will not privatize the transmission aspect. Government hold on to the transmission aspect. That means to transmit, government hold it, because government was also generating. The government gave private people to also generate electricity. They were generating, now transmitting. Nigeria developed the capacity to 13,000 megawatt. That is capacity we have now to generate electricity. But what happened? We could not transmit beyond 5,000 megawatt on daily basis. What caused the problem? The people that we sold the distribution channels of electricity to, they don't have money. They went and borrowed money from banks. You must have heard the story whereby banks started running after some distribution company. They want to take over those companies. Like the one in Abuja have been taken over. You get it? The one in Yola have been taken over for a long time. The one in Kaduna and Kano also have issues. The one in Port Harcourt also have issues. The one in Lagos are the one that are only striving. Eco Electricity and the second one, Benin Electricity, also having issue. So they were all having issue because this private investment that we talk about, that we thought they have money, they don't have the money. And they lie to Nigerians that it is because government doesn't even have the money. That's why they have to come into partnership with government to come and buy those stuff. And what happened? They were making billions. Between January and June 2023, we have paid 247 billion as electricity bill. And you ask me, blessing, how many times do you get electricity in your area? You are laughing.
Well, I live somewhere where
it's stable.
Not really. It's not as bad.
It's not as bad.
It's not as bad, but of course I get the point that you are. I get the point you're
now.
If
you look, if you take a survey of Nigerians now and say, let us open a phone call. How many of you are having electricity here?
How many people have lights in their house?
Their houses.
Of course, I know what that means. We have about a minute to wrap up, so please put your thoughts together.
Now, the thought is this: we have gotten a new set of ministers. Let them do the work as expected from Nigerians. But another thing is that as they are doing the work, we want to encourage them. Just like we encourage the last set of ministers that work with President Muhammadu Buhari, but they never listen to us. In a sense that they became more richer than when they came into the government. We want to encourage this one. We know some of you are rich, but don't get richer than the state, because a lot of this set of people normally get richer than even local government. We want to encourage them. Please be mindful of the kind of way you are going to be spending the money or carrying out project that is expected of you in your offices to do, because Nigerians are really tense and they are not happy with the current reality of the economy. So they must do the needful and ensure that Nigerians smile, and that is the responsibility that the president have appointed them into those positions. So they must not disappoint the president, then that must they disappoint Nigeria at large.
Thank you very much, Adefolarin Olamilekon. It's always a pleasure having you in the studio. I don't think we've ever had a conversation that was not beautiful. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate your insights, your time, and your expertise. This brings this part, the political roundoff of the week, to a close. I do hope we've learned a few things, and like I always say at the end of every episode, this country belongs to every single one of us. If it affects one Nigerian, it affects every Nigerian, and that is the reality of what is on ground. Of course, matters continues. Freestyle Friday is about to begin, but just before we do that, I've got bills to pay. After that,